everybody. We are so excited to be back. We've been kind of on hiatus for a little bit. And so we've had a wonderful time behind the scenes today that you'll get a chance to see some of our erratic behavior. So I want to welcome you again to...
You said erratic?
Erratic. I'm pointing to those two. I want to welcome you once again to S.I.T Social Issues Time. I'm Francois Booker Drew. And then I want to introduce you to my amazing co-hosts, Tilde Wahardo and Gauthami Vimula. I'm going to always brutalize her name. I'm trying to do better, Jesus.
It gets better each time.
I know. Well, I'm calling her Miss G from now on. She's like gangster. Anyway, we are so excited to be back. So what have you guys been doing in our downtime?
Oh my gosh.
What have you been up to?
I'll let Tilde go first.
Well, I just finished up the TEDx Turtle Creek Women event, which was a huge success.
Yay.
Everybody
Good job.
did an amazing
Congratulations.
job. The speakers, the team, everybody, so I couldn't be happier. So I'm decompressing from that, but I've also started to refresh on my French because, as you know, I'm getting ready to go to France and Spain in September. So I've been kind of having some fun and gearing up for the next relaunch of Womanars.
Très bien,
So-
très bien.
Oh la la!
There's the teacher right
I know. She teaches French, Spanish,
No,
piano.
No. Very little French.
No, you got it. Saying crazy stuff in other languages earlier. Anyway, so what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh. I know you know what I've been up to. I've been to 4 weddings in the last 2 months. And I have 2 more to go.
Are
Two
you
more?
serious?
I have 2 more to go. I have my BFF's wedding.
Yes.
And then I have another one in September. So I'm not done yet.
Wow.
So this week I have been resting, and April and May is always very busy for me. It's like the end of everything. Yeah. So Color Me Safe is picking up.
But you also surprised us by telling us that you were ordained.
Yes.
So I think it's so cool that you're gonna officiate your best friend's wedding.
I am. I'm
think
very
that is
excited. I was
so
really
cool.
honored when she had asked. The whole joke was, when you guys get married, I would love to marry you. So she was like, well, why don't you?
That's
And
so
then
cool.
I'm like, how can I do that? And she's like, you can become ordained. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. So I'm very
awesome.
excited.
Well,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a busy time. I've been traveling like crazy.
Yes,
and
you
so,
have.
I mean, it's been nonstop. Every week this month, I'm somewhere. So I'm in Atlanta tomorrow. I'm getting ready to speak at this event. So just trying to...
World traveling.
Yes, I can't wait for it to slow down. So hopefully by mid-July, I'll have a break.
So what are you speaking on?
So I'm going to talk about having a disorienting dilemma and why that's important in our society. Why do people need to connect like we're doing? And how do people have these experiences that really open up their minds so that they can build relationships and build their networks?
How fun.
Nice.
So yeah,
Good.
so that's what I'll be
Good
doing.
luck.
You're gonna do a great job.
I hope so. I'm
You
nervous.
always do.
Thank you.
I just don't understand how Francois gets nervous.
I do all the time. I do. But what I've learned is the nervousness is a good thing because I think it forces you to depend on, at least for me, depend upon God and not so much depend upon me and think, oh, it's all about me.
Right.
And it keeps you humble.
Yeah.
So I appreciate when it happens because when I go in and think I've got it, I mess up so bad. And when I don't think that way, it happens in such an amazing, beautiful way. So I'm hoping that happens in Atlanta.
As we talked behind the scenes, I have a remedy for that, and I will email that remedy
I told
to
you to
you
hook me up with
later.
that. Yeah, comedic relief. That's what I'm hoping for. So ladies, we've been talking about women in religion. And we've had some amazing conversations about different religions and just our own experiences.
Right.
And we were thinking we should invite other people to the show and share their own belief systems and where we can learn more. Because I think a lot of our issues in society are really because people don't understand each other because they don't talk.
Right.
And so that's what I'm hoping that we're able to do today. So we've got an amazing guest by the name of Dr. Hinjar, who I've had the pleasure of working with for a couple of years. The Texas Muslim Women's Foundation has been a client of mine, and people are often surprised when I say that because it's like, well, you're Christian. duh, and I can't work with somebody else. I love the work that they do in community.
They're a great
And
organization.
so great organization. And so I'm just honored that Hen had some time on a Saturday because I don't do anything compared to her schedule. I'm like, nobody. And so I am just honored that she's going to be here with us today to share.
Exciting.
And we can all learn and ask questions, and hopefully our audience will be able to learn more.
Absolutely.
And it can broaden their thinking.
Open dialogue
Yeah.
is what I like.
Yeah.
Well, and I like how this also will help people focus on how similar we are in our faiths, not our differences. So
Right.
I'm really excited about doing that.
Okay.
So we've got shows planned. Oh my goodness. We've been talking even about cartoons.
Don't give it away, Jerry.
I won't talk about that, but we've got ideas. So this is just one of many that we'll be presenting to you all,
Exactly.
just to get the conversation going.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned before, audience, if you have any topics that you would like to share with us, please feel free to reach out on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
So
So let's get started with our first guest. Again, I want to introduce to some and welcome to you all Dr. Hen Jar, the Executive Director and President of the Texas Muslim Women's Foundation. Hen, thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you, Francois. You always honor me with the kind of presentations that you always make, and I feel so humbled, Francois, and I feel very, very thankful and blessed to know you. So may God reward you for all the work that you do with all the organizations that you do. And thank you for this show. This should be really wonderful.
Well, thank you for being here. I want to tell a little bit about the work that I've been able to do. It has been amazing. Initially I thought I was going in to help them, and in essence, it really has been a blessing for me. I've learned so much. And I think it has made me such a better person because of the experience and working with Hen and her team. These are women who are just dynamic. And so to glean from her wisdom and experience, I'm excited. So Hen, would you tell us a little bit about you and Texas Muslim Women's Foundation?
We formed the Texas Muslim Women Foundation, Francois, to give voice to Muslim women. In the aftermath of September 11, there was so much misunderstanding about Islam and Muslim. And the missing link always were Muslim women. Everybody talked about them. Everybody talked for them, but they were always in the background. And this is why we formed. We formed in 2005. We were a group of 30 women from different countries, from different backgrounds, even different ages. We had a cross-section of youth, older women, middle-aged women, and we identified the most important issues in our mind that reflected the situation that was happening all around us, whether locally here or nationwide or within the world itself. And this, the product of that was the Texas Muslim Women Foundation. Wow. We have been in existence for 10 years now, and we have managed to have different programs. Our star program is the domestic violence services and 24-hour shelter for victims of domestic violence. In addition to that, we have youth program, we have an interfaith and educational program, and we have also the Islamic Art Revival Series.
Wow. Awesome.
That's amazing. A wide array of services.
Yes.
Yep.
Hen, when you think about the work that you've been doing, especially the interfaith work, have you been able to see any progression with people having conversations around faith and the diversity that exists within the faith community?
Definitely, definitely. The interfaith work has been an eye-opener and has been an eye-opener both ways. It has been an eye-opener for me as a Muslim woman, as a practicing, observant Muslim woman, about what you just mentioned before we started, how similar the different faiths are, how much we have in common, and how much misunderstanding we have about one another, and vice versa. We have been in interfaith work with all faith and all denominations. We have been with Christian denominations across the board, Presbyterian, Methodist, Lutherans, Baptists, Catholics. We have been with Jewish interfaith, both Reform Judaism and Orthodox Judaism. We've been in interfaith with Hinduism, with Buddhism, and it really is, it hammered home the fact that we are all God's creation. We are all God's children. And we all have different ways to come to the same truth. And the differences among us are the differences that are man-made. They are not the differences, they are not that integral differences. And if we can know this, and if we can capitalize on this, our world will be a much better world for everybody.
Yes,
I
totally agree with that.
I agree. Dr. Hind, a question that I have for you is, being a Muslim woman, what are some of the personal challenges that you've had to overcome?
The first and foremost is the misconception. The misconception that Islam subjugates women, that Islam does not give women rights, that because I am a Muslim woman, I'm supposed to be a second or third grade citizen. That I have no right, I cannot voice my opinion, I cannot decide what very simple things. I know that the perception is that, and actually the culture itself it's such a patriarchal society, patriarchal system. But my own story is really the opposite of the stereotype. I am the youngest among three sons. My family, we were four, 3 boys and 1 girl. But my parents, and we really were not well-to-do. We are Palestinians who were displaced in 1948. So we were refugees. We didn't have a lot of means. We didn't have a lot of money. But education was first and foremost, and my dad made it as important for me, his youngest daughter, to be educated as much as my brothers. My opinion really mattered. What I discovered is whatever was applied in our household were the teachings of Islam. The teachings of Islam that women should be educated, that women's opinion should be taken. You cannot, when I was to be married, nothing was forced on me. I was asked my opinion if I agree. I always joke with people. I tell them I am the product of an arranged marriage. I want you to understand what an arranged marriage. Arranged marriage in the sense that our families knew one another and they introduced us to one another, but we were not forced to marry. We met each other, we decided that we are the right partners for one another, and then we got. So it is always the challenge for me as a Muslim woman is always that I have to defend. And I have to say, no, but we Muslims don't do this, but we Muslims don't do that, rather than for people coming to ask us directly, what is it? What does Islam say about this? What are the positions of Islam? And that's the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge again is to deal with everything that we are hearing nowadays in the media about the extremism, about the violence, about the disrespect for people from other faiths. All of this is not correct. And all of this, once you really meet Muslims and understand their faith, you know that none of this is correct.
Wow.
So, Dr. Hind, this is Tildy, and I have a question for you. As far as because it's not only about women in religion, but also discussing women in leadership positions within specific religions. And so I know within the Christian faith right now, there's a lot of movement of women moving into leadership positions, like being pastors or bishops and things like that. And just wanting your take as far as the Muslim community and what you see. Are there women in leadership positions there, or is that not typical in that religion?
There has been situations where women have been in leadership position, in political leadership position. You know, we remember Benazir Bhutto. She was the prime minister of a majority, one of the biggest Muslim countries, Pakistan, and she was the prime minister there. She had the highest position in government. In Turkey, there was a prime minister that was a Muslim woman. In Bangladesh, for several terms, the president was a Muslim woman. So in political leadership, yes. In religious leadership, something equivalent to a pastor or a rabbi, we don't have this now in Islam, but Islam, the religion itself, the role of the mosque or the role of the religious leadership in the mosque, you know, is not really equivalent to rabbi or a pastor. But women have been the question of the imama, women becoming imam leaders in the religious sense. There is still quite a bit of discussion about it. The majority opinion is not yet. There aren't women imams in the sense that she would be the leader both for men and women. She can be the leader for a group of women, and I think you are aware now that there is a mosque in Los Angeles, which is a mosque for women only. I think it opened several months ago. And there is also now a movement to graduate, women scholars, religious scholars, there are a lot of them. And many of them are there working and presenting the faith, and you see them always presented. But Imam, in the sense, Dr. Amina Wadood, actually in 2005, she went ahead and decided to take the Imam role, in the sense that she led the prayer. But that created so many problems and so many issues to her. She even got death threats for that. Wow. So this one is still a very big hot potato right now. And there is a lot of discussion about it. But like I said, women leadership in the political sense, yes, it has been, and it has been in Muslim countries before we have it here in the States.
Wow.
So my question, Hen, to you is, as a community, what are some things that you think we can do to have more interfaith dialogue, but also talk about issues that women have within our faith traditions? So what are your thoughts?
I think we really need to educate. Education will be the key. We have to educate within our communities and outside our communities. We need to make them understand, and we need to make them realize. If you go to the Quran, which is the spring for all knowledge and for all legislation or regulations in Islam, the Quran is very equitable. in the presentation of the roles between men and women. They are complementary one of another. They are from one soul. They are, I always tell people, in Islam you're always saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the most merciful, the beneficent. Ar-Rahman is derived from a repeated word, the most repeated adjective of the Creator, derives from the protection and the nourishment and the nurturing of that comes with being a woman and with being a mother. So that aspect needs to be hammered in and adhered to and understood in our relationships. So it is, again, it's an effort to educate, open minds. The Muslims are always trying to emulate the messenger, Prophet Muhammad. And one very important thing about the messenger is that the one who really supported him was his wife Khadija, his first wife. She was 15 years older than him. She actually was his employer. She was a widow. She was his employer. She actually proposed to him, and she was his biggest supporter and protector. She financed him. When he became a messenger, it was her wealth and her money that supported him and that protected him. So even for Muslims who discriminate against their women or who treat their women disrespectfully and who claim to be Muslims, if they go back and study the history of their messenger, they realize that how far astray they have moved from his teachings.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And it goes back also to your point that our differences, or the things that keep us in fear really of each other and our religions, are man-made laws and rules, where if you look back not only on Muhammad, like you said, but on Jesus and the way he treated women in Christianity, I mean, it's so opposite of what extremists are doing within our own religions.
Right. And I think over centuries, the actual the significance is being lost. What it stands for, the essence is just moving away from what it really stands for.
Right.
And I think we are guilty of doing that, as people.
Yeah, because religion or faith, not necessarily religion, but our faith is supposed to give us freedom.
Exactly.
Not keep us in bondage. Right. And what extremists do in any religion is keep people in bondage.
Right.
Wow.
Well, Hen, thank you so much. I want to ask you one last question. Is if you would leave us with a thought that you would want our audience to have about women and Islam, what would you want them to walk away with and knowing?
I'm trying to remember a verse of the Quran which says that it says, we have created you from إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَى, from male and female, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ, and we made you into nations and tribes. لِتَعَارَفُوا. The word ta'arafu in Arabic means to get to know one another, but also the word ta'arafu means to do good with one another, to be charitable, to be philanthropic, to help the needy, to help those who are at a disadvantage. And the way it ends, this verse, the way it ends, it says, Inna akramakum, the one who is most honored in the eyes of God, in the sight of God, is the most righteous. So our Creator said that He intentionally made us into the different people and the different nations and the different colors and the different customs and the different languages. And through this difference, through this diversity, through this wealth, we can come to recognize His power and His supremacy and His magnanimity and His mercy and His tenderness. So we need to realize this. We need to start looking at one another as brothers and sisters, and we should look at each one of us in awe and in that yearning to learn about one another. And through that learning, learn about the greatness, the magnificence of the Creator Himself.
Yeah.
The sad thing is that we are using our differences, whether it is our color, the skin color, or whether it's wealth or it's power or our race, to put one another down. And in that end, creating all this mess in this world, rather than be what God wanted us to be. To be protectors of this world, protectors of one another, and caring for one another. And this has been the teachings of Jesus. This has been the teachings of Moses, Abraham, Muhammad, Buddha, everybody. This has been the teachings across civilizations.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hen,
Beautiful.
thank you for being a guest on our show. This is probably the beginning of many conversations that we will have, and we'll bring you on to talk because you have so much wisdom and we want the world to know about the great work that you're doing. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Hind, for all the work that you're doing to advance women, and also just the collaboration between with the interfaith work that you're doing is just really, really incredible.
Thank you for having me. And like I said, I am truly honored, ladies, to be in your company, and I wish you all the best of success in what you are trying to do. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
That was great.
It was awesome.
Wow.
I mean, gave you some ahas.
Yeah.
It did.
Right. And for me, at least, it was like, wow, there's so much that we have in common
Yeah.
Right.
that we don't even know.
It's about interpretation and perception, right? That's how.
Well, who knew Muhammad had a sugar mama?
I don't know about going.
That might get me in trouble. Sorry if I offended anybody.
Yeah, but I think it is the fact that, you know, the support and the
Absolutely.
way that they work together,
Right.
and that's not always known and discussed.
Exactly. I mean, and it's little details like that
Right.
that would make a world of difference to little girls, knowing that, you know?
And sometimes I think we only see what's just presented. You know, if we really took the time and really researched and looked at the depth of everything, we would have a better understanding, which would probably mitigate some of the chaos in this
Right.
world.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Well, I can tell you
So-
from my own experiences, you know, in growing up Catholic and then going Baptist, Nazarene,
Yeah.
kind of Baptist liberal, you know, and the whole flow of things. But for me, it wasn't, and I believed initially everything that I was being preached at.
Yeah.
You know, so everything that was coming in or everything that I was reading that wasn't reading the Bible. I was reading books or things that were being given to me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I actually read the Bible where the layers started to come off, you know, and my heart started to change. So my mind started to change and be more open to exactly what Dr. Hind was talking about, you know, and that's what I would ask the audience to do. No matter what your faith is,
Right.
read.
Right. Learn.
Read
Be
and
willing.
learn about your
Willing.
faith, whether it's the Bible or the Quran. I mean, what does it say? What is it
Yeah.
saying to you?
Right.
You know,
Because
what is
there's-
God saying to you?
Because there's not one faith that's going to preach bad. Everything is good. You know, it's the way we perceive it and the way
Yeah.
we practice it and apply it in our lives, you know?
Well, and I think what has to happen, whether it's religion or race or any kind of difference, it's the conversation and the
Right.
relationship. I think when you become in relationship with someone, you become more of a protector of them.
Right.
And so when someone says something offensive, you're like, no, I know that not to be true because I have friends who are X.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think that what we have to work on is how do we expand our horizons and our relationships where you can talk to people and see, well, I see this on TV, but this isn't true because I
Right.
know you. And I think sometimes we allow media, as Hen said, we allow media to feed us so much that we really don't take the time to get to know people and see that a lot of what we are being fed isn't necessarily true.
Right.
And so to your point, it is about education, it's relationships, and I think it's about how do we build community with people so that we can change this world and leave our kids something that they can be proud of.
Yeah.
It's all about the mindset.
It
right?
is. It
You must
totally
seek
is.
to understand to be understood.
And with that, we will close out this episode. That was good. That was
really good.
That was good. I'm like, hold hands and sing
Yeah.
Kumbaya. Okay, so we won't do that.
Yeah.
But that was good. That was good. And I think that that's what we're trying to do is get people to understand. As much as we want to be understood, we need to understand others.
Exactly.
So thank you with that. So this is the closing of our episode on women and religion and talking with Dr. Hinjar. Thank you once again for being on the show, and we will be back very soon to talk about again women and religion. So thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.